Hey. Testes, one, duh, tray, chi, chi, chi. Yeah. Hey. All right, I guess we can get rid of this one right now. All right. I I'm not sure if any of you can. Oh, look. I think there's 5 people watching. Cool. I don't know if it's working though. Oh, you know what? I think I hear something. Okay. So sorry to be running a little late with this, y'all, but fuck it. Okay, I think one thing I'm gonna need to do is I'm just gonna leave you hanging there. I am going to switch to a little FaceTime right now. Which I gotta create. I'm a professional, guys. Sweet. Oh, there it went. Okay. You're gonna have to take a look at this one for a second. So, let's see. Anybody in the chat yet? Audio is echoing. Probably was only just for a moment, but let me find out. Sounds. What does that word say? Good here. Does it still sound good, Blue Roar? I wish I had some meditation droniness for you to be listening to settle in here. Nice, that worked. Check this out. Wait for it. Actually, yeah. Hey, there it is. Whoa. I'm still checking myself out in OBS now. Let's switch to the camera. It doesn't look like garbage. Although, boom. Oh, yeah. My webcam's not plugged in. So let's switch back to this. You thought I knew how to do this shit. Hi, Olivia. All right. I've gotten some requests for heavy breathing, so I'm going to try to incorporate a little bit more of that. Maybe I'll just go ahead and take my gate off too here. Maybe take my low pass off too, or my high pass. Yeah. Yes. 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 There we go. Hey, okay. All right. So, hello everybody. Welcome. We've got 6. Nice. You guys haven't left yet. Welcome to this very first experiment of a stream from my end. Let's see when I eject this drive if the PNG is still there. Okay, sweet, perfect. Super excited to be sharing this music with you in a little bit more of an official capacity. This has been an ongoing project for 8 years now. And it just keeps growing and growing and getting more and more ridiculous. So strap in. If you've heard this music before, get ready to enjoy yourself again. What I've done with this stuff, in case you haven't been paying attention to, the grams and all of that bullshit, is I have created for the first 3 tracks of this album, SmokeClouds, I have basically created a fully realized concept video, which basically presents all 4 core components of Cirquelectroexotica Part I, SmokeClouds. Presents all 4 components at the same time. And what are those 4 components? They are the story, they are the lyrics, the artwork, and the music. So all 4 of those are going to be incorporated into this video you're just about to view. I told myself that I would hit play on this at 8:34 p.m. Whichever comes first out of that, or 15 people joining, or I don't know, whenever I could get my shit together. But how are you all feeling? How are you all doing? How are you all doing this evening? I say that question seriously because we live in some very messed up times. In fact, I was hoping to straighten up my room a little bit more before I did this, but I'm going to show you. I guess it doesn't look that terrible. But it's definitely a mess. Life is a mess. The world is a mess. And so let's have fun, make beautiful art together. Oh, I realized I had like paused it on my phone and was missing the chat. Okay, cool. So we'll kind of sit for a little bit here. The way this is going to work is I will give just like a little bit of a primer to kind of set us off, and then the video will last about 25 minutes. I think I might give just like a little bit of an explanation of what these different components are, but it's almost kind of fun to experience the music firsthand. So I might even just be like, fuck it, I'll just play it. We got about 6 minutes left, and what I need to do is queue up the video here. So let me do something like that for a second here. Hooray, new scene. You're probably going to see me disappear for a second, but you might still hear me. Hey, it's darkness, darknesses. All right, now let me try to see if there's anybody chatting still. I don't see any chats. You guys all must just want to hear the music. All right. I'm still here. I just turned my gate back on. Audio engineering for the win. So you don't have to hear all the things making subtle sounds in my room. You were seeing, yes, Dad. We were seeing the basically a frame based on the cover of SmokeClouds is my I guess it's not really an overlay, it's more of a frame. Well, I guess it's an overlay. Doesn't matter. Okay. There it is. And then yes, 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 yes. Oh, nice. It's going. You see that there? Cool. Let's switch back to my face. Hello, face. We got 11. He has 11. I have 11 viewers. That's very touching. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. But sound off. Let me know you're here. I see numbers, but I basically only know that James, Tomas, and Ron Foreman, that's my dad, are here. And my mom. 2 viewers for the count of 1. Sí. Bueno, bueno, sí. Okay, I guess there's just enough. Oh, who's that? Oh, that's Brian. Or sorry, that's not Brian. I mean, he might as well be a Brian. His name is Roger. He's my brother. Nice face. Oh, he likes my face. Thank you. All right. I think once we Oh, hey, Derek. I'm presuming that's Derek. Singularity LA is in the house. We're in the virtual place. And then, once I hit play on this thing, I might stalk some of you, and I don't know how to look up people who are in the chat. I'm always a little discombobulated when I do these things because I try to have like 8 different things happening at once, and all my devices struggle. So if you want to help me out, help me buy some new devices that work. Okay, but enough woes about me. Cirquelectroexotica. Cirquelectroexotica. This is volume 2 of the Cycle of Pain. What's up, Eric? This is volume 2 of the Cycle of Pain. Part 1 is called SmokeClouds. It is very hypnotic and should very much kind of leave you in a daze. That's kind of the intention behind it. To get into a little bit about the 4 components that comprise it, let's talk about the music first. So, Cirquelectroexotica basically was the brainchild or stemmed from when I was really excited during my time at CalArts. with all the unique and exotic sounds that I was really getting into. I mean, I got way deep into the world music program there in a deep way, studying primarily the four main ones that I really dove deep into were North Indian or Hindustani classical music, West African drumming, particularly of like the Volta regions of Ghana, Benin, Togo, and the mostly the Ewe people, Ga people, and the Dagomba people, and then Javanese and Balinese gamelan, so Indonesia, and then Persian percussion and theory, Persian classical specifically. Um, what a journey that was. That was 2 years of just kind of like cramming as much as possible as I could into that span of time, working with so many talented, brilliant artists, and it's just been a treasure trove of material for me to play with and take a geological scale of time to complete this thing. But I'm very inspired by George R. R. Martin, guys, in more ways than one. Exquisite art takes time, and time and time again, I've set unrealistic expectations for myself as far as when or how I would finish this and present it. It's exceedingly difficult by design, but it's super, super fun. So the music is all derived from those sorts of things, plus like all of the insane just experience and inspiration that comes with being an electronic music nerd, not just dance music, but just fucking sounds and everything in general, and sort of the limitless possibility that comes along with being an electronic music producer. It's like I could just throw fucking like four on the floor kick drum down and put anything over it, and people are, some people might dance. So that's really, really cool. That infectious groove and that, that kind of encouragement of like sharing and the meditation of movement, or I don't know. I mean, I have all kinds of weird, heady ideas that you can probably just read in all my lengthy writings. But part one, Smiles Six Stripes, which opens the whole thing. This is, I think I put it up in a post. I meant to do a couple of promo posts for Grand Chasm, and when I open, I'll just do those after this or something. But basically, Smiles and Stripes refers to like curves and lines, grand designs, a rush illusion there, snakes and arrows, chutes and ladders, kind of like all the things that are obtuse or oblique, and also very geometric and straight lines and angles, and how those types of concepts kind of affect energy in life, in the universe, in growth, in evolution, and everything. So that's kind of the crux, or like the nexus of everything that this track is about. Musically, it has all kinds of Persian percussion, congas, bongos, drum set, a shitload of synth sounds, and some incredibly audacious bass that we'll get into, or you'll hear or feel. Not sure exactly which system you're using on. Either way, this thing is probably going to be pretty shitty sounding. Actually, it'll sound okay. But I don't know. I know all you are listening on phones and laptops, devices. But I do encourage you after this, if you really like what you hear, or if you kind of like what you hear, if you don't like it at all and you just want to kind of fill up some more space on your hard drive, you should go to Bandcamp. b4manmusic.bandcamp.com. That's be4manmusic at gmail.com. That's my email address. b4manmusic.bandcamp.com is where you can go and basically download all my music for free. You can basically hit the buy this track, this album, name your price, no minimum. Oh, it's 8:37, so I should wrap up here and hit play. But buy it or put in $0 for it. All it'll do is it'll force you to be on my mailing list, and you'll be able to experience this in much better quality. I would encourage you to download one of the PCM versions, or if you're fancy, you could go for, I think Miguel he'll probably tune in, or I don't know, he might be busy with kids, but Miguel is a big fan of FLAC or ALAC files. That is a lossless compressed format, meaning that it is a smaller file size, but it uncompresses as it plays. So all the information of a WAV file is right there. Basically, just the redundancies are encoded. It's like a zip file for an audio file. At least I don't know. That could be complete bullshit. I don't know how shit works. So, but without further ado, I only talked about Smalzic Stripes, but I'll talk very briefly about Grand Chasm. Grand Chasm is full on Indian. It has two parts. The first half is all improvisations in a raga, which is basically an Indian equivalent of like a key or a mode. A raga called Bhairavi. No, Bhairav. I won't explain what it is right now, how it's structured. You'll just hear how that kind of scale works. And then what follows that is actually an arrangement of an Ali Akbar Khan composition, if you know who that is. Very, very important bringer of Hindustani classical music to the Western world. Ali Akbar Khan, Indian compositions don't usually have names per se other than the particular form that they're in. But this is a composition of his in a time cycle called 7, not called 7, but in 7, called the Rupak. So that whole second half is a composition that I arranged with him through I arranged with the guy who plays the sarod on the track, Darian Smith. Super talented. I've been out of touch with him for a while, but Darian, if you come across this, I love you, I miss you. Let's hang out or catch up. Not hang out. Please stay home. Stay safe. And then When I Open, the third track in the deal, SmokeClouds Part I. That is called When I Open, which I just said. That is the outer two sections are more or less based upon a South Indian, actually a Carnatic rhythmic cycle that's in 8 beats. Adital, I believe it's called. Surprised I still remember all this stuff. Anyway, so you might. Who knows what that's all about, who's actually watching, but it's all kind of based off of those concepts. But then I basically kind of turned it into you could think of it as like a jazz thing with a head in an abstract way, or kind of like a world percussion piece. And the whole middle section is actually a transcription of something I wrote down listening to a whirring air conditioner or a generator or something like that, and some dripping water while I was taking a shit at an outhouse in Big Sur. So anyway, with that, we're gonna hit play on this thing. Hopefully everything works, and I will see you on the other side and mute my ass.
I'm so attracted to her. thoughts that always push through. Remember the adventures, the memories, the dreams slipping if we weren't walking backwards, we lost the view.
the content. It's probably too much to expect, but I'm starting to think it all may be possible, at least for now.
The stillness descending. There's so much more to take us. Life in slow motion. We keep the same mistakes. Trying. We feel the wrath of ice grip. We must learn to earn trust from ourselves. The passing very shocking. Tomorrow we move on. Hey, 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 testes. Dead air. Dead air. There's dead air. Actually can't hear myself yet. How you guys feeling? Goal. Oh, nice. I scored a goal apparently. Oh, come on, guys. I need more effusive praise. Okay, now I can hear myself. All right, by your silence, I'm gonna assume that. Oh, somebody's Liddy. Blue Roar's Liddy. Is anybody else Liddy? Sound off. Oh, it's black now. Hi, it's me. I'm also not entirely sure if my voice has been in sync this whole time. I have issues with this overly complicated setup I use. So, what do you guys think? Oh, his third eye is ripped open. Well, good. You opened an additional eye to the two you already have. That's kind of the point. Or not. Actually, it's more like with one eye open, it's more like you've been asleep and you're opening halfway to whatever wokeness means for you. It was great. Thanks, Tomas. Always so succinct. It's great. Love the cloud motion of one eye open. Did he miss any motion stuff on the other two? I guess technically you did with all three of these. It's very subtle. Raj Mahal says, "Whoa, yeah." So with each of these, this whole thing is getting recorded, so you'll even get all the I don't know. You'll get the entirety of the bullshit, but you'll even get the bullshit from the beginning too, where I was running late and still wanted to start it. So I see though I didn't lose any viewers. I actually gained a few viewers throughout the course of this video. So must have been creating some sort of energy ripples to attract some vibes. Raj Mahal's there. Okay, what I'm gonna do first here, let me just kind of catch up on the chats because I was frantically, well, not really too frantically, chillfully. Man, my voice sounds a little bright here. Does it sound bright to you guys? Is there a little too much 8K in there? Okay, well, whatever. Let's take a look here. So, the chats that I can see right now. Fuck out of here, Poom, not your stream. So, yeah, we had to kick out Poon Shower. He wasn't supposed to be here. Eric fucking Sedano, you must have been having a stroke or something. French Manila, nice little spectral heart there. I do enjoy my hearts, especially when they're green and yellow and purple. Beautiful. Okay, cool. What part was beautiful? Tell me in the chat. Hi, French. Oh, that's me. French Manila. They also, I guess they love me. Yo, this is wild. Thank you, Eric. I was kind of going for that at times. You guys like this feedback? Darumbe thought it was fire. Darumbe always thinks it's fire, though. Loving these vibes. And I guess I scored a goal. Okay, so let's see what people said afterwards. So Liddy. Glad I litified your evening. That was so good. One. Good. A good one. It was a good one. Cool. Third eye's ripped open. We covered that already. Yeah. It was great. French Manila, yes. And somebody winked. Oh, yeah, because, yeah. It was magical to hear the music going by with the text. What a message. One, Mom. Mom sent me a message. Thank you, Mom. I joined late. Can you play it again? Sure. Not now. Well, so if I get enough yeses, please play it again. I showed up late. I'm a terrible person. I'll play it again. But we'll just start chit-chatting a little bit here. So I did explain a little bit. The story is definitely something that I'm most excited about these days. Because it kind of really ties together all the vibes. I didn't really talk about the lyrics too much. So, I don't know. Let's do something like this. Another thing that I also have basically primed right now, I haven't started my personal meeting room yet. But if anybody wants to talk, kind of talk face to face, I could even put your face on the stream. You can kind of consider it like a radio show. You're calling in, and I could be on Zoom with you and see you. You don't necessarily have to be seen by the audience. But we could showcase you with the audience, but we can hopefully have a conversation. I don't know how good the sync will be, but this channel is really all about experiments and trying stuff and fucking up and not doing that on the JSP channel as much. So yeah, so very casual. Even though this music is so super serious, you guys probably have gathered by now that it doesn't take itself entirely seriously. Yay, Slange. I think that's Susie. How do I pronounce that? Slankshi. Are you a Slankshi? She's a Slankshi woman, guys. DJ Legs, everybody. Okay, shout out Legs. All the legs in the world. Oh man, I'm funny, guys. Okay, so what was I talking about? So I was talking about the fact that this is casual. And what I think that maybe we'll get into, play it again. I missed the motion stuff in the first two. Scrolling the story, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, we'll see. We'll see how late it gets. Who's excited for seasons? It's amazing how there's like a 40-second delay or something between what I say. I think that's why it's like, oh man, it's like, well, whatever, fuck it. I'm not gonna say anything interesting about that, so I'll just stop. So actually, I think I will play seasons because I told myself, okay, it's September 15th. We're a week before the equinox, the autumn equinox. That was always the goal for this track, was to introduce it or premiere it, meaning this track, when I say this track, I mean Seasons, track 4 of Cirquelectroexotica. Seasons is, I had always sort of intended for it to be released a week before an equinox. When I was quote unquote on track to release all of this album within a year, I was going to release it over the spring equinox. But if in case you guys didn't know, something happened in March that was pretty fucked up in the world. So, geological scale. So we're now in the fall, and I'm glad I made it. We've got about 4 minutes. So what I'd like to do now, Steve, I will replay SmokeClouds afterward, and just kind of hang out as long as people want to hang out. But what we're going to turn this into right now is an OBS tutorial. So first thing I'm going to do is create a new scene, and I'm going to go black for a while. And I think I might try to do something silly where I try to share my screen so you can see what I'm doing, but it's gonna look pretty weird, I think, or it might look kind of cool. Here we go, display capture. No, we'll do display capture because it's easier. Yes, there it is. Although, can you see it? I think you can see it. Display 0. So, you guys, this is gonna be really informative. If you ever want to try to start streaming yourself, how do I do this? Fit to screen. Oh, I missed it. Let's see. So what you want to do is click transform fit to screen. Oh God, if I can even figure this shit out. Fit to screen. Whoa. And I can even do this. Whoa. Okay. But let's take a look at what these lyrics look like first for Seasons. And who knows? Maybe I'll just go ahead and read them to you because we'll really focus in on the artwork eventually. But I'm super organized and I know exactly where everything is on my computer. And the lyrics, oh, right here. I think I can drag and drop. Boom! Hey, that's pretty big. So, why did that turn out kind of funky like this? Let's see, fit to screen. There we go. Cool. You guys see that? All right. I'm going to read this to you. No, I'm not. You can look at it. I'll read the first part. I've been having nightmares spinning around my head. Somehow I know completely that there's nothing to be said about the habits I've been making or the damage I've been taking for the fire I've been hiding here. Um, Somebody should have taught this lyricist to use some punctuation. Cause what? But I think it makes sense. I just needs a little editing. Then we must remove the hesitation from our awareness of the infinite within to elevate our consciousness and turn heartache into inspiration, into creation, till creation brings us rest. Brings. What does that look like? Beings? What does it look like to you guys? I'll wait 30 seconds. This is two words over on top of each other. So I'm willing to take guesses. The metaverse. Damn. Somebody should invent a Twitch where you don't have to wait for people to say something. Okay. But brings us rest, that means brings and it's brings and lets. Brings and lets. Because I couldn't decide which word to use, so I just recorded it with both and then I put them on top of each other. So that's the first half, and I'll talk a little bit about the music for the first half. What you're going to hear is a Javanese composition that I wrote. This is actually an original composition for Javanese gamelan orchestra. It doesn't have full instrumentation because that would have required learning way more parts. But it does have at least the core melody, which is in Javanese music. That's pretty much once you write a core melody within a certain cycle, you basically have the entire piece written, which is super dope. Unlike Balinese, which is like fucking fireworks all the time, can be, where there's structures, but everything's a lot more colorful and ornamented, and there's a lot more room for not really improvisation, but like sort of set patterns that you can mix and I guess it's like improvisation, but that's Balinese. We'll get to that in like next part. The third part of Cirque. Let's talk about Java. So Java, it's kind of like the inverse, where once you've got the melody, there's a very, very sort of set dictated structure that all the other instruments need to follow, and there's certain flexibility within that framework or that structure, but it's very much about kind of the elegance of the form and the complexity of the form, if that makes sense. So it's super sick. I love Javanese, and it's very, very generally very, very sleepy sounding, at least to my Western ears. Maybe it was just a little more sleepy to just be in like rehearsals because they were late at night in CalArts and I never slept there, but I don't know. Regardless, it's very, very fascinating. Everything kind of circles back towards this gong sound. So this whole first half of Seasons is Javanese, and it has like kind of in the background another sort of like a Hindustani influence coming through, which I don't know. Maybe we'll talk about after. I don't know how interested everybody or if they even really understand when I get into kind of like the theoretical, musical, nerdy concepts behind this. But I mean, if you guys like it, I'll keep going. We'll play this in a little bit. It's 9:17, so we missed our time, but that's okay. There's more I want to say. The Javanese gamelan. So in Javanese gamelan, they have this really, really cool kind of like rhythmic or I would say it's more like kind of a tempo, auditory, or oral illusion. It's like as we're getting towards this B section, right? This thing that you'll hear in the first half of Seasons. This composition I wrote under the kind of a careful guidance of both one of my peers who's a gamelan major there, Matthew Clough Hunter. Shout out if you're listening or watch this. And then our not guru because that's Indian, but our teacher, Pak, which is a term of respect, Pak Joko Walujo. He was a Javanese instructor at CalArts. Incredibly chill, exceedingly chill, incredibly nice, exceedingly nice human being. And we got together one night, I think it was spring break of my grad year at CalArts. So this was literally probably like a month before we performed this. We got together during spring break. He came down, Joko came down. Of course, we were all on campus all the time. and we sat in the gamelan room and we wrote this thing together. Like I'd written this melody, and they helped me figure out all these other parts, and it was super sick. We recorded all those parts, a week after the recital or something like that. Brian Saya stayed up with me all night until 8 a.m. in ROD Concert Hall there. I forget what it's called now. I think they got rid of that name. When was that? I think you're asking about the recital or the CalArts time. That was spring of 2013. Spring of 2013 was the year I graduated there. April, in fact, was when we recorded it. Stayed up all night, and for the first part of the night, we did all the gamelan. So we actually set up pretty much, I don't know, half of two gamelan orchestras, which were on a different floor that we had to bring up. That process in of itself, I think, took like an hour and a half. These instruments are not light. And we did have some help. We actually had some really outstanding players, like gamelan nerds, who joined us, who just really, really great. Carrie, I believe, was one of them. Carrie Schock, Ben Cohn, and I believe we had Eugene Moon there. And Brian was engineering. I was playing some of the other parts. I won't get into the names of the instruments. Maybe we'll do that after. But that is the first half. I didn't actually even get into the Javanese rhythmic or auditory illusion stuff. So as we get to this B section, the tempo is gonna speed up just a little bit, and then it's gonna slow down and down and down and down and down and down until it's almost half the speed, and then it's gonna land at half the speed. However, the rhythmic density, if you were to relate it to the first tempo, doubles. So we really have a tempo that is half as fast or twice as slow, however you want to think about it, half the BPM. And then we have a rhythmic density that is double the rhythmic density of the previous BPM. So if your brain is hurting, you're like, stop talking, Brian, I just want to hear this stuff. Too bad, because let's talk about the second half. The second half is Indian again. I think I talked about, I'm super prepared, guys. I think I talked about in the SmokeClouds listening, we discussed these two ragas that comprise Grand Chasm, right? They are Bhairav and Bhairavi. This is now introducing a third raga, which is known as Madhuvanti. And what Madhuvanti is all about, it's a very simple sweet raga to Indian ears that kind of just represents everything to do with love. It's meant to be very joyful, typically played in the evening. But to my Western ears, especially when filtered through my dark subconscious, I guess you could say, it takes on kind of like a creepy, mystical, mysterious vibe, because of this sort of like turn in how the melodies work, and I don't know, you might be able to get it right away. But what that sort of reality has come to represent for me, I mean, I myself am pretty scared of romantic love, to be honest. I won't get too deep into that, but we'll just maybe leave it there. And yeah, I mean, the lyrics in here, they all pretty much revolve around kind of like snapshots from different seasons of my life. We're still looking at the lyrics here. So the top two, this is October of 2010 for me. This second one kind of it's a little bit like fall, spring 2010, 2011, but it's mostly like spring 2013 for me. And then the second half, we get into this Indian raga Madhuvanti, right? And the seasons represented by this are summer 2010, late summer, and then the fourth one is spring of 2011. Sorry, did I say 2010? I meant 2009. So almost ready to stop blabbing away here. I'm going to minimize this, have you look at my lovely OBSception here. I think I'll leave these up somewhere. We'll figure out kind of what to do. with that. We might even just get rid of that display capture, except I was going to kind of make this a tutorial. So it's going to be a weird ass tutorial. Are you guys ready for a big reveal of the artwork for Seasons? Let me see a Capagen, except it won't work because my stream's elements isn't that great yet. But yeah, show me with your I don't know, just tell me if you're ready to see it. But it doesn't matter anyway because I'm going to show it to you right now. So to add some Seasons artwork to an OBS scene that is repeating itself infinite amount of times, you're going to hit plus here under sources. You're going to go up to image. You're going to type in ass. And then you're going to go browse. And then you're going to go to where you can't remember where you left it. Just kidding. It's over here. And I'm going to open it up. And fuck yeah. Whoa, that's big. Check out my new logo, guys. That's not my new logo. And oh, wow. It's pretty sick. Let's move around here. This is kind of fun. You can't even necessarily see what the hell is going on here. So we'll kind of pan over. This is kind of like autumn, guys. This is spring. Let's take another look down here. Oh, look, there's the name of the track. Oh, look, looks like a beach, looks like a sunset, looks like fucking lifeguard tower and a tree. Oh, what's this? Looks like a sad spoon face with some words. What does this say? I can't read that shit. I don't speak, dudes. Upside down. I don't know. I don't know what the rest of it says. Okay, let's see the whole thing, right? Drum roll, please. Virtual buzz roll. Fit to screen. Boom. And let's turn off our display capture. And there it is. Seasons artwork. You'll be able to see this in pretty high res on the Bandcamp once it goes up. That'll probably go up later tonight. In fact, I ran out of time for a lot of stuff I was trying to do before I started this. Part of the reason why I was super, indigestion. So that's why I was super discombobulated when I was first starting this. Hopefully next week will be better. You're like, ooh, next week. Next week I'm releasing the song Jungle Man on the Equinox. So I've got the artwork up here. The story is still in process. The story has been very, very difficult to write, but I will not reveal anything about it until after we listen to this because 9:15 passed. But what is time anyway? I think it's like a flat circle. And I don't know. Okay. So actually, hang on. Let's show our display capture again and put it in the way of everything else because you guys have been really enjoying this tutorial. Actually, can we move it? Yeah, there it is. Okay. And the last thing we want to do is to add the track. Check it out. Media source. Call this ass. Actually, no, we'll call it track. And then let's find it here. Boom, boom, boom. Seasons. Well, it's not. Here it is. And we're going to play the MP3 because you guys are listening to this shit in 160 kilobits per second, so it doesn't matter what quality is going in. It's a local file. If there it is.
awareness of the infinite within to elevate our consciousness and turn order into inspiration, into creation, till creation lets us rest.
Hello, 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 hello. All right. All right, let me try to get my face up in here somehow. All right, tutorial time. Oh shit, I got rid of the window capture, so I'll just do it. You'll hear what I'm doing. So I'm gonna go up here to video capture device and add an existing one. Let's maybe do webcamer. In fact, let's get a couple faces. I don't know if my computer will blow up when I do this, but hey, let's. I mean, my face looks cool from many angles. Oh wait. Oh, hang on a second. FaceTime. Hi. Okay, and this is me. Hey. Okay, so we're gonna get a couple of me's down here. But this is actually to try to kind of like set something up that might be kind of cool. You'll find out. So, what'd you guys think? Shit, I might have lost all the chat. Oh no, banger alert! I like that. Thanks, Raj. But hey, tell me something. Oh, it might still be playing. Where is it? I don't know. I have no idea like where we are in time right now. Are you guys still here? This is supposed to be interactive. Okay, so I guess maybe I'll just start talking and like do shit like this. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed that. That track was a bitch. Sorry, excuse me. It was a batch. But give me some feedback. Tell me what you thought. Is the chat still working? I don't know. But yeah, a couple things here. I mean, I really like. I could talk about literally anything related to any of this stuff, and go on and meander about. But what I'm really most mostly curious about is how does this music affect you all? Like, I mean, this is my life. This is my heart. This is like my baby. This is my whatever, my magnum, whatever. Oh my god. You guys like vulgar dad jokes? Or like saying things and then turning it into a vulgar dad joke in your head? Okay. But yeah, seriously, I am here for you. And oh, we got some things coming here, so I don't have to like seem insecure. Okay. Wow. Spectacular. Oh wait. Wow, actually there's a lot coming here. So you guys do love me. Okay, I'll let those come in for a little bit and reorient myself. So, yeah, drop your shit in the comments. I will respond. In the meantime, let me think for a second here. What I'd like to do is give you all the option. In fact, I have pretty much primed and ready to go here. I have a personal Zoom meeting room. So if you want to have like an actual face-to-face conversation, let me know in the chat. You can say, hey, I'd like to be on camera. If you say camera, I will put you on video. If you say, hey, I'd like to talk to you and be on the stream, but not have you see my face, then you still will join the Zoom. You'll still have to see my face, but nobody else will have to see your face. So those are two options, if they made any sense at all. So we can have little conversations like that. And of course, anything related to seasons, I can expound upon based off of your feedback and questions. So here we go. Let's see what we got here. I think what I'll do first is just sort of read through the chat, and if that cools down, we'll maybe get into some like hangout. Oh, hey, there's your FaceTime, and then I don't know. We'll see where we are then. So let's check it out. Banger alert! Yes, on the subject of banger. In fact, I think what I'll do first, please continue to talk amongst yourselves or drop compliments in the chat. I need to be able to hear myself, as strange as that seems, because I feel very disconnected from myself with these headphones on and not hearing myself. Turn my headphones up. Okay, there it is. Now I know exactly what I sound like. And I guess I'm in sync with my audio. Let me know. Actually, we can play a little fun game here. Let me know which of these cameras is the most in sync as I'm actually speaking, because I know they're out of sync, as you can tell when I'm waving my arms like this. this shit is fucking confusing and weird, and I just know a lot about technology and have been able to kind of figure out a few things. But we're all in this together, guys. So I don't know. Always good to know what it's like on the other side. It really is sort of a strange thing to be kind of like, I'm gonna do a show, and like I have no idea what time anything is reaching anybody, and I have no idea if people are actually paying attention. Pretty weird. But luckily, all the glowing things in the comments are great. Okay, so I was going to talk about bangers. I love bangers. I love things that go boom. And for this track, for whatever reason, back when I didn't know how to produce shit. I thought it was a good idea to have like maybe like 30 different layers that go boom on this track. So I put them in there, and then I set myself up for 8 years of anguish. But all in all, I'm this track itself. I know you guys were hearing it the way you're hearing it, but it'll be up on my Bandcamp tonight. You'll be able to download the WAV or the how do you pronounce it? IF. You'll be able to download the WAV or the IF, and it'll all be okay. This track is probably like my proudest mixing accomplishment because it's like 119 layers. And I just, for whatever reason, it seemed like too much work to print things or consolidate things or anything like that, even though I actually did. I had all those like stems or those original raw tracks, but there's so much that I wanted to do with the track when I returned to it that I was just like, okay, I just gotta stay in here because there's so much in the mixing of like all these layers sort of breathing and respond to each other. Lots and lots of creative sidechaining going on, not just compression, but filtering, gates. There's some crazy shit going on. Some crazy engineering, some crazy production value. So yeah, all that's happening. There's a bunch of shit that goes boom, and it was bass has always been the biggest hurdle for me, the biggest challenge to really get to sound like that. I mean, part of it is that I'm super inspired by producers like Trent Muller, J-Views. Those are kind of like the two main ones. That if you were to take like a low pass filter, what side of the camera am I on? Is this the left? Okay. If you were to take your, what is it, a high pass filter and like filter out all the highs, right? Those dudes are still making music with their bass. And I'm sure, like, well, that was a thought that didn't quite materialize, but they make music with their bass, meaning that, I mean, you could filter everything down to like 100 hertz, 80 hertz, and you still like feel something. I imagine deaf people probably really, really like tremolo. But anyway, I mean, I've always strived to be like just a master of bass, even though I've sucked at it for a really long time, as any producer can attest. But there was tons of stuff that I had to do that anytime like one boom happened, another boom had to kind of like filter up or side like compress down to duck for it or whatever. And there's all this shit just like interacting. And so even when in that first section with the gamelan, I was kind of like called the techno tom. That's kind of do 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 we can talk about that rhythm some other day, maybe. But yeah, when that techno tom's going, like when it goes into that big open section, the kick drums filter up. They get really ticky-tacky because all the bass comes out of them. That big like synth opens up that's tuned with the gong, and there's all this like just crazy magic. Because that stuff is really hard to make happen. And in fact, if we get into a little bit of like the tuning of everything, you might have heard something kind of funky with the tuning of the instruments. That's not because they're out of tune. That's because they are not Western instruments. They're Indonesian instruments, meaning that their scale or their intervals between notes is different from our equal tempered system. So, you've got an instrument that has like 7 bars on it or something, or 7 notes total in like different octaves. And what I wound up doing is I understood this all kind of interesting tuning of the instruments. And I've experimented with all kinds of different ways to sort of tune synths and tune software to match, like, you know, your non-typical A440 equally tempered stuff. The first time I got into it was actually through some writings and some things by a producer called Kalia Scintilla, Australian producer. Huge influence on me. I really love him. I haven't checked out a lot of his stuff in a few years, but he was basically just kind of like the first dude to show me some really show me. I mean, I've never met him. Well, actually, I jumped on stage and said thank you after a show one time with my jaw going like that one time. But and he was very gracious, very happy to receive that praise. But anyway, yeah, I really enjoy his music, and what he does, which some of you might know, is he tunes all of his tune equal tempered 432, which I don't know, in like hippity dippity bullshit, it's supposed to like be some sort of like significant universe frequency. I mean, there's science to it, guys, but when you tune stuff to an equal tempered system, if you just tune it down, it still has like all those dissonant, like micro dissonances in them. I've used the word dissonant twice. But anyway, I've digressed very far away from what I was trying to talk about, which was that in Javanese, what I had to do, I mean, I've experimented with kind of like programming things. I got this little program called Lil Miss Scale Oven that a friend, Brendan Burns, recommended to me one time. But what I ultimately was just worked the best for me is I sat there with one of these instruments. I had my tuner app out, and I just measured the hertz value of each note. And unlike Balinese instruments, you know, all the octaves are perfect. So once I had those hertz values, I could figure out how many cents that was, and then I detuned my synths manually by ear with a tuner in my DAW to match them all perfectly with the Javanese instruments. So that's why everything's very well tuned. And when it came down to the vocals, there's actually 6 layers of vocals. That's why they're so trippy, and there's all kind of crazy shit going on. But one batch of vocals that I used, actually a primitive version of Melodyne, like old crap Melodyne, to kind of collectively tune all those. Melodyne's super cool because you can like basically put in all these tunings and it'll do it, which is just sick. And even in the primitive edition, the old cracked version. But then I also later I recorded some live vocals with Thomas, one of the AIs, that were he's kind of just like naturally singing in tune with the stuff, and it wound up being really cool to just have a little bit of that quality of like you know, chorusing effect with a Western musician trying to approximate the shit. All right, so that was a long answer to a banger alert comment, but let's take a look at here. I'm gonna read through a few of these. Sounded amazing, great drumming at the end. Nice. I'll let the drummer know. Drummer's me, you guys. This is my drum kit debut on Cirquelectroexotica. Amir Uzman plays on most of the tracks, but this one, the solo came to me later, so I had to play it, and I think I did all right. I'm really happy with how the drum mix turned out. It is just slamming. I blended the kick and snare. Did I? No. Well, no, never mind. That's on another track. But yeah, I incorporated some techniques and some samples to layer it with it. I mean, all the drums, all the live elements typically tend to be augmented in some form. But I don't know, I just have been getting really confident in my drum mixing, which is good because, you know, yeah, it's important to have great sounding drums, and I just love how they sit in the mix. And the performance turned out pretty well. Had to turn up real loud in the bass, made our cat jump. Great start. Oh yeah, it's like boom. I love it because like the first 3 tracks of Cirquelectroexotica open very subtly and softly, and then part 2 starts with like boom. Boom. Wow, spectacular. What a difference over what we've been listening to all these months. So much detail and involvement. So yeah, my parents have had the insider access to like the works in progress of these. French Manila, I love the gamelan, the changes in tempo, and the vocals and sitar. Good catch of all that stuff. The changes in tempo. I just love that. So I didn't quite finish explaining this. So as we get to the end of the B section, you guys got that like kind of crazy I don't know, hard techno psytrance vibe through the whole B section of the Javanese section. Towards the end of that B section, you'll notice it's like the whole second half. I actually just drew a linear tempo increase in Ableton, and it's going from 144 increasing all the way up to what's double that? I don't know, 288. But then it jumps back down to what, 72? Math. 72. And what's kind of crazy is when the drums drop out towards the end of that section, you actually get, it's a sense of like kind of you're suspended in space and things might be like releasing or out of tempo or something, but it's actually still increasing, still increasing, still increasing. And then when it hits that A section again, it's gotten really, really, really fast, but then it goes back down to that like quarter speed or whatever. So it's fucking sick. Okay. Java. I didn't invent that. Damn Javanese invented that. Can you share a little bit more about the lyrics for Seasons? Sure, I can. French Manila, if you can tell me maybe a little bit more specifically what you're thinking about, I'll come back to that one. What would you like to know about the lyrics? Slankshi. I liked the beginning and the end both had different vibes and it was still a cohesive song. Thank you. That really does mean a lot. Because, one of the biggest challenges of Cirque, which is the craziest kind of concept behind it, is like, I'm going to take everything, I'm going to mix it together, I'm going to make it work. So, yeah, Seasons is a prime example of that, where I was like, okay, I want to do a Javanese thing, and I want to do an Indian thing. And these two, I don't know, fuck it, I'll put it together. And it's going to be one half this and one half that. And how I kind of tied them together is, maybe some of you guys noticed this, is we go completely from Java to completely India, right? In terms of the organic instruments. But a lot of the percussion and the drum sounds are the same from section to section. Even the core, the basis of the groove. So we go into Tintal again, which I neglected to mention before, is the 16-beat Indian time cycle. You can think of it as like 4 measures of 4/4 if you know Western meter theory. Basically 4 bars, 16 beats. DJs understand. Every third bar, and it doesn't necessarily have to be every third bar. Like if you had 32 bars, it'd be bars 17 through 24. If you had 64 bars, so it's like the third quarter of some multiple of 4. In Tintal, basically that is the point in the groove where the bass comes out. It's called Kali. It's represented with a wave if you were to count it out. And that Kali means open, so it's like kind of the open section. So if you listen closely to those grooves, and even with the way kind of the hard techno psytrance groove is in the Javanese section, that shit is happening. So when that synth, what I call the techno tom, gets like really, really big and huge and kind of replaces the kick, that's your Kali in the Javanese B section. When we get into the Indian, you'll notice that, especially when we get into the guts, which are like the refrains, the flow I go with has no grip on reality. That, if you listen clearly, there's basically the big part of each repetition or each round of 16 beats where all the bass is gone, and then it makes it all the more fucking epic when it drops back in on the final bar. So that's how I was able to tie them together, was with the percussion sounds and some of those sort of like integrated Indian time cycle things. Okay, play it again, brings us beings, oh no, I already looked at all that. Okay, nice, gorgeous, oh, thank you. Banger alert. Okay, where were we? Had it turned up? I don't know why I scrolled up so far. I heard the seasons more as discrete episodes this time. Maybe the explanation drove that. That's cool to hear. Thank you. Yeah. Agreed. Each season is its own episode. I mean, it's really kind of like 2 big episodes. But it's like, yeah, there's definitely like very similarly kind of with One Eye Open, you get sort of, well, the vocals in the second half kind of come in the middle, but yeah, it if you look around here, I mean, you probably noticed it in the artwork. I'll kind of indicate. I don't think you can see my cursor, but if you look at the top left, it looks like a jack-o'-lantern. Um, the B4man's kind of covering up the stem, but it's behind and in front of two of these antlers. Won't say much more about that for now. um, the right top one, that's spring. The bottom one, that is summer. The bottom left is winter. So it's kind of a weird ordering. But it's in a way, it's a little bit like kind of thinking about hemispheres. If your northern hemisphere, let's say, is like the right side, your southern hemisphere is the left side. When it's spring in the north, it's fall in the south. So I mean, it's weird. But I did talk through this a little bit, but I'll talk through it again. So you got a jack-o'-lantern representing fall. There's kind of the nightmares and shit tied up in that particular fall of 2010 being very nightmarish in a lot of ways. When I talk about the lyrics, I might expound a little bit more on that. We've got the spring panel. The top right is mostly covered up, technically speaking, I guess, by the continuation of this large antler. But you'll notice a tree. You'll notice a lot of growing things. And on the non-digitally duded version of this, the antler is basically kind of like the ground. You can think of all the roots sort of, these are kind of growing out of the antlers. And if you were to be looking at this as like a cross section of this antler, the antler is subterranean. The inside of the antler is subterranean, and you've got things growing out of it. We'll hop down, and if I was showing the Photoshop, I could maybe pull the seasons layer out of the way. But that's a sunset. It's at the beach. It's pretty much Dockweiler, if you're familiar with LA, and it's a lifeguard tower that is kind of like a plant version of a life tower that is growing out of a tree. And then the winter one, I'll kind of explain a little bit about this. Like the verse, how you do something is what you mean, and sometimes as you do something, what you mean is what you do. Sometimes has something to do with how you don't do something. But that was actually an extension of a quote I heard when I was applying for grad schools on my East Coast trip. This was, so this is winter of 2011. So the beginning of 2011, February of 2011 to be precise, I was visiting my friend at Berkeley. I was kind of thinking of starting another bachelor's at Berkeley. Glad I didn't do that. Berkeley, Boston. And I did day trips to New York for NYU, their music tech program, and then I did a day trip to, where is Brown? Providence, Rhode Island. The only time I've ever visited that state. Beautiful town. Jesus Christ. Somehow they didn't get the worst of the snowpocalypse that year. In Boston, there were like 6 to 8 feet of snow on the sidewalks. But anyway, my visit to Brown was really, really cool. Super, super sick program there. Was not for me at the time because I just kind of wanted to make beats, and their program there, I forget what it was even called that I applied to, but it was this PhD program that was like fucking amazing and just all about multimedia. I don't know, maybe I should apply there because like, I don't know, might be appropriate to go back to school right now or something. Who knows? Anyway, but Brown was sick, and there's some really, really cool professors there who were really, really nice with the tours and kind of explaining the program. And I got to sit in on some really, really, it was like, if you got just a bunch of the smartest like multimedia artist people together who did just crazy intellectual but really, really provocative stuff presenting it. And so kind of what that winter panel represents, in addition, other than this kind of like weird whale face. If you can imagine this whale face as actually like a projector screen or some sort of screen, and if you notice towards the little kind of like the bottom right hand corner of the winter panel, so a little bit more towards the center divider there, there is this thing. Can you notice the little dude there? It's like a triangle with a triangle above and like some arms. That is the dude who's super stoked to be watching all the shit that's going on in that panel. And it's all like this is the most abstract panel. It actually incorporates some pencil in addition to the all the different colors of gel pen slash what else highlighter and felt tip pen. That was the original material for this artwork, which I then duded all over in the digital space today to create this. All right. So, as you guys know, I like to talk a lot. Hope you guys are into this shit. Please put some comments in the chat so I can be validated, although they're probably already there. Okay. That shit was a journey I must go on again. Well, Eric, thank you. It'll be up on Bandcamp tonight, and you'll be able to listen to it as many times as you want. I might even play it again tonight, although I think I might play SmokeClouds again tonight. If enough people want to. Okay, I like the beginning. Blah, 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 blah. I like the beginning and the end, and both. Okay, the lower one looks more in sync to me. Okay, cool. So I think what the problem is with these, cameras, is I think I'm using buffering for the webcam, which is the slightly better looking, slightly larger looking one. And I think that fucks shit up, or it just like fucks the sync up, even though it makes it smoother. So I don't know. Always experimenting and trying to figure out the best way to do this sort of thing. One way that I've found to combat that is I actually get into the delays in my console that I'm using, and set a delay so that it basically delays itself to match the buffering. But when we were doing, if I don't know who all catch the Bass Safari event the other night, where Brian Walker, Boswa Music, and I did our thing, our drum and bass thing, but for the life of me, I could just never figure out the best way to get all that stuff in sync. You probably saw like all my responses to the drops being delayed in that, while Brian's was pretty much in sync, but that was even a couple frames off, and it's super obvious, obviously, with drums, and especially if they're drum and bass drums. But whatever. Anyway, we're not talking about that. But that was fun. Tell me if you saw that and you liked it, because it was pretty sick. Your vocals now are echoing. Maybe close one of the windows. Okay. And are the lyrics connected to particular events in your life? Yes, they are. They are. Let's talk about them. Full screen the lyrics. Or, no, I'll just make them bigger. Oh, hang on a second. At least want to put it, I'm going to put it in front of the ass at least. No, I'll put it in front of everything. The ass is what I happened to call the layer with the artwork earlier. Shout out to asses. Asses are pretty great. Except when they're people. Okay, I've been having nightmares spinning around my head. Somehow I know completely there's nothing to be said about the habits I've been making or the damage I've been taking for the fire I've been hiding here. So this line, this stanza, it was written in fall of 2009. It was written the night before my partner at the time broke up with me for the second time. And I'll just lay down the facts. So we made plans to carve pumpkins for Halloween. And I made the decision, we had a football game the day before. At the time, I was TAing for the band, but still playing. I was playing quads. After the game day, there was a party going on. This partner of mine didn't want to go, so but I went to the party anyway, wound up kind of staying out all night, having a time like I'm prone to do. And when I told her the next day, she was very upset. So no, out of respect, I'm not going to get too much more deeply into that, but you can kind of get the picture of what that was all about. But I wrote this actually in the middle of the night when I got back from that party before that day happened. So, and it you know it got refined a little bit before it became the actual stanza for this first part. But you know, remove all the other stuff from the equation. But this is basically like that's what it means to me. But this is evoking basically this sense that uh, psychoactive experiences are very, very deeply, psychedelic substances and pathogens and things like that are deeply connected to my overall just, I mean, there's been extreme inspiration to me through all of my art making process since they, became a part of my life. But as any seasoned psychonaut knows, there are dangers involved, both psychological and physical, mostly psychological. And if you overextend yourself, as with anything, if you do too much of anything, it can, the negatives can start to outweigh the positives. So the habits I've been making, the damage I've been taking, is kind of like an acknowledgement of the fact that I was pretty much, I have a tendency to go over the rails, or really it just kind of stems from the fact that I like to go in deep with pretty much anything that I engage in. So, yeah, I mean, there was some damage happening that I'm not proud of, by any means, but definitely it was all, it was never just to party, never just to like escape. It has always been for me a means to explore myself, and to gain a different, fresh, expanded perspective on the world and the universe. And these are tools that can be used as teachers. So while at times I've gone overboard, while at times I have experienced nightmarish experiences because of the way I've chosen to engage with these tools, regardless of that, it was all for the fire I'd been hiding. And I could say a lot about that, but I think I described it in the big long thing I posted today on the before log, that it stems from, my art making process is really all based on a desire to, let me see if I can remember it, commune with the metaphysical background of the world. My intention is to, through my art making process is to commune with the metaphysical background of the world while transforming things into something new. So really, art making to me is sort of pulling from literally the vast expanse of the universe, anything and everything that comes into my purview, that's not the right word, comes into my, really just my consciousness, or my, even sometimes my unconsciousness, the ego, the id, the superego, I mean, all those different things, all sounds, colors, tastes, smells, sensations, literally everything comes into my brain and then gets translated and transmuted into something. So that's the fire. And psychedelics are just a small part of that have had a profound impact. So that's what that's all about. Second stanza. We must remove the hesitation from our awareness of the infinite within to elevate our consciousness and turn heartache into inspiration, into creation, till creation brings / lets us rest. So what's kind of funny about this is actually, that was fall 2010, right? This is also partially, like it sort of is a transformation of something I wrote that same night. We're actually really on the 31st of October, as I was like coming to terms with the reality that my romantic partner had dumped me, but also kind of thinking forward. And I spent like most of the night researching grad schools to get the hell out of LA. But anyway, I was just kind of like, at the time I was writing about the fact that, like, okay, well, this is a shitty experience, but I gotta just, figure out a way to move forward and channel this into inspiration, into creation. And once I've created something that is, does whatever I need, because I was thinking about the fact that, like, previous serious relationship I'd been in where I'd been dumped became the basis for all of an album that called Recognizance that you might have read about today, which I will be returning to at some point. So I was thinking, oh, okay, well, this shitty thing happened, but it may be some art will come out of it. But that can definitely be like something that I think resonates with a lot of people, is that when something terrible happens, one of the most healing things we can do if we're creatives is to basically just like throw ourselves into art, right? So we were having some problems. I mean, same person, we got back together and stayed together for a lot longer than we should have, 2.5 more years. We were living together during the entire time I was at Cal Arts, but getting into too many details right now. But we were having troubles during that spring, and my entire time at Cal Arts too. I was just so fascinated and inspired by everything I was doing, and it was just this really strange dichotomy where I just felt miserable at home, but felt so much joy at school. And so I kind of reworked this line that I wrote and turned it into what you see there for the second stanza. Third stanza, we're now in India. Madhuvanti. The flow I go has no grip on reality, and your disappointment with the flow I go with has no grip, and it comes as no surprise. So this is late summer 2009. What I will say about this stanza is that there were figures in my life, people in my life that were very disappointed in me at this time. And I also had a very, very tenuous grip on reality at the time. And neither of those were surprising. I'll leave it there. Number 4, how you do something is what you mean, and sometimes as you do something, what you mean is what you do sometimes has something to do with how you don't. And I was about to talk about this, and of course, just did my Brian thing and kept going with someone else. But this 4th stanza, how you do something is what you mean. Those first, however many letters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Those first 8 words. How you do something is what you mean. That is all I heard at Brown when I was visiting there. But that particular statement inspired so much. How you do something is what you mean. What does that mean? How do you do something is what you mean. So what they're kind of trying to get at is, you could make art about anything. You could do anything. But what's the meaning behind it? The meaning is how you do that thing. Right? It's the intention behind it. One thing that I'm thinking about right now is, you take pop music, most pop music these days, commercial pop music. Extremely well engineered, right? This is some of the, you got masters of all the things coming together to make the most perfect sounding thing. But what's the intention behind it? So, that's the big question. Like, I'll let you think about that. Huge, like I have nothing against, I'm not going to, we won't get too deep into that because there's a lot more to talk about with this stanza. How you do something is what you mean, and sometimes as you do something, what you mean is what you do sometimes has something to do with how you don't. So this is intentionally, in fact, every single stanza of this, like with the way I've arranged the lyrics here, this is entirely intentional, that there's no punctuation, because it's meant to really make these words kind of hard to decipher what's going on there. Like, if I were to rewrite this sentence with some punctuation, you'd totally be able to get it. But what this is saying how you do something is what you mean, right? And sometimes, as you do something, what you mean is, you can insert the word that here, is that what you do sometimes has something to do with how you don't do something. So basically just kind of turning the statement on its head and thinking about, well, sometimes what you mean is not necessarily how you do something, but how you don't do something. So there you go. Any more comments? Are you guys bored? Did everybody leave? Oh, we still got 10. Nice. We only lost 5 through all of that. You guys like my talking? You guys like my lecturing? These will get better. Love the story of the lyrics. Thank you, French. That's Shanjit, everybody. Shanjit, are you up late? Don't you have work tomorrow or something? Shanjit lives in Brooklyn. So I have a headache, which kind of sucks, but that's okay. How are you guys all feeling? Are you guys done? You guys want to keep hanging out? Anybody want to hop on Zoom with me? I'm pretty tired, so I might wrap this up here. But anything that's like, anybody who's like interested in fact, I think I might even be completely out of sync with the chat right now. Let's see. Let me reload it and see what the. Oh wait, are we still live? Oh wait, hang on a second. Oh, so much fun when you're doing everything, right? Loved listening to the explanation of the lyrics. Thanks for sharing. Cool. I mean, yeah, there's going to be way more. The story for Seasons, I think I mentioned earlier, it is not complete yet. Anybody want to hear a little bit about it, though? Of what's coming? I mentioned on the before log that part 2. Oh, wait. Let's make these lyrics so you can see my face a little bit more again. Okay. But yeah, part 2. Yes. Okay, we got a Susie asking for it. So I a little bit earlier, I'll give you guys just a little bit of a refresher on what SmokeClouds is all about. Okay, we have a super sad boy who gets a super sexy call, basically luring him to a breezy hillside where he finds a shed, a tiny shed. He's supposed to go in there. He's like, this is pretty sketch. He goes in there, and then holy shit, he's greeted to like a sensory assault of a psychedelic circus freak show, right? And this ringleader, I guess you could call her, who he comes to dub the mistress. She leads him around through all these very hypnotic performances by the performers there, the freaks. And he doesn't know this as he's witnessing it. In fact, he's pretty much lost in his head the entire time, thinking about memories. But what we learn in Stagnation, which is part 2 of Cirque, right, is that the world we're existing in, or the world that the universe, or the world in which this story takes place, it's like Earth. It's like a parallel universe. It's like if you've seen Man in the High Castle, it's like, one of those multiverse things. Could be contemporary, could be the future, it doesn't really matter. But in this society, basically, the world, or the let's just maybe say the nation that we're in, call it USA, has kind of decided that the root of all evil in the world is lonely, angry men. And what this company that works with the government has discovered is that the way to combat a lot of the violence in the world is sex missing from these dudes' lives. These angry, lonely dudes. And so basically they've set up a procedure, by the way, everybody's connected to the matrix in this world. So anytime there's a ripple in the matrix where it seems like some lonely dude is getting angry enough to start shooting up a school or something, they give him a call. It's you can think of it. It's like a pop up. Could be a pop up even. Like those things if you're browsing around like free porn sites that come up and you're like, what the hell? Fuck a granny tonight for free, or whatever. Like it's like that, except it's not a granny. It's a very sexy, whatever appeals to, they customize it. Are you uncomfortable yet? Okay, they lure him to this shed, and then he's like, what the fuck is going on? This shed is a sketchy, goes in there, and what the show is, aside from being a great outlet for like all these performers to, who might be, otherwise cast out, they have basically rehearsed scenes from this sad boy's life, and they are performing them, but he doesn't notice that they are from his life because this is a form of hypnosis that is triggering these memories that basically put him into a trance. Flip him, kind of throw him for a loop and turn him and put him into a trance. So once he's in that trance, he is unconscious. He is asleep, and that basically happens right around the time that this mistress lures her into her chambers during Grand Chasm. Full stop there. That is, I basically kind of just told you the story of Jungle Man. That's the story of Jungle Man, is through the mistress's eyes, her observations of how this sad boy is responding to these hypnotic performances. That's Jungle Man. So this story is told not non-linearly through the eyes of three distinct characters. Our sad boy's story was SmokeClouds. The mistress's story is Stagnation. And the name Stagnation, I'll get more into it over the coming weeks, but it, the fact it's spelled like stag nation with the N capitalized. So not only is it this word stagnation, but it is the words, an amalgamation of stag, a male deer, and nation, a nation. So it's, in a subtle way, it very much is, especially during this time, the artwork itself is really just my angsty reactionary response to existing in this world and, during this time, existing in this nation during this time especially, and thinking about just how it really has, not to get too political, but it really has exposed all the evil that exists in the world, in particular, all the evil that really has been innate to the story of America. And it's very disappointing. I do not feel proud to live in this country or be from this country at this time. I say that with conviction, and I'm becoming more and more interested in expatriating for a time. But who knows? I'm broke, so I don't know. School in Germany or the Swiss Alps, I don't know. But anyway, back to this story, though. Seasons has been difficult to write, and Stagnation in general has been very difficult to write with the story, because even though I see it very clearly in my head, the perspective is the kicker. First of all, I am very self-conscious about writing from a woman's perspective, because I honestly to this day have very little understanding of women, but an extreme amount of respect for women. So I don't know, we'll leave that there. But so writing from a woman's perspective, but also what makes it a little easier, but also very difficult, is, to me, this part of the album has been the most difficult from an emotional standpoint to complete, because it really does cover, for me personally, with the autobiographical qualities of this story and this album and just my life, it really does touch on some of the darkest things, the darkest, most evil aspects of myself and what I've experienced, what I've observed, and what I've witnessed happening in my mind, what I've reflected on as I've gone back to past traumas and past experiences. It's very, very serious. And so that's the subject matter here. But the mistress, basically, she's like, you know, in addition to this being like a psychedelic circus freak show, I didn't quite finish the story of you know, what this place is. But in addition to it being like a psychedelic freak show performance space to hypnotize this dude into basically being asleep, it is also what you could maybe think of as a love clinic, an intimacy clinic. So it's a sex work clinic, but this is basically they hypnotize you into submission, and then they have their way with you in a private chamber until they're able, you know, these are medical professionals, right? So they've researched this stuff in this universe, right? They're, you know, they know exactly what to do. It's very, very clean. It's very sanitary. It's very much like a targeted, maybe stale approach to this biological need that we have for sex, which I firmly believe. I mean, I was listening to a podcast that featured a sex worker one time where she said that, you know, it was Tim Ferriss, and he always not the sex worker. Sex worker's name's not Tim Ferriss. Anyway, he always asks at the end of his podcast episodes, they're always like these lengthy, like 1 to 2 hour discussions. He always asks them, okay, if there was a set of words that you could put on a billboard, what would they be? And her response was, oh man, I really, really hope that I've got this right, but you can look up the podcast. I'll probably post it somewhere if you guys are interested. But anyway, her response was, I would put on a billboard the words, sex is a need, not a want. Legalizing sex is the future of America. So I don't know. I mean, that just had quite an impact on me when I heard about it or read it, and my perspective on so many things has changed dramatically from the time I was a child to who I am now. And you know, there's just a lot of fucked up shit. We've approached like all these different things in a really messed up way that has done damage to our species and led to a lot of these problems. So anyway, in this universe though, you know, like these are the points I'm making, but derived from all this stuff, whatever the hell you want. Like, this is art for the world, and whatever just take whatever I'm saying with a grain of salt. This is what it means to me. This is where it comes from. But you can be like, I don't agree with that. That's bullshit. Like, how could you think something like that and just think your own thing? But I would always just ask for everybody to be kind and to really listen actively and listen deeply to each other's perspectives, because you might learn something. You might change your mind about something through just hearing it from a different, point of view. So this love clinic, have this down to a science where they take you, they have their way with you, and then they basically give you a drug that it's like an induced amnesia. Maybe it's just like a shitload of ketamine combined with a roofie or something, but they call it like amnesium. But what we'll find out about in this season, so seasons is basically the morning of this encounter, the morning before this guy shows up with this sad boy shows up at the shed, right? The day before. I mean, I think it's basically, the days or hours before. The mistress is doing her research. She is basically, for her research, she is studying some personal journals of this sad boys that they have stolen from him. This is their way of doing their research into what his life is all about. And she is basically taking notes on what techniques she plans to use based off of the stories that she's reading about from this guy's life. So she is basically crafting not just the techniques she's going to use, but also directing and writing out the performances that are going to be the little vignettes that relate to these scenes from this guy's life, the sad boy. And what is kind of funny about it is that, of course, this is not really a benevolent operation. It's more of like a practical thing. They're like, you know, if we can just get these dudes to like have sex with really well trained prostitutes who really know what they're doing, but then give them the amnesia so that they don't remember the experience and they just experience purely the biological and psychological effects of having experienced sexual intercourse, then they're gonna go home. They'll be slaked, they'll be like satisfied for a while, and they probably won't shoot up a school for a little while. And then maybe if they get sad again and get angry and want to shoot up a school, we'll give them another call and put them through another experience. And this sad boy is unique. Anyway, so it's a corporation that has figured this out. It's, you think of it as like big pharma or big whatever, big med. And they sponsor this intimacy clinic. And so they have, like with any corporation, they've got their mission statement. They've got their like, this is what we do and this is what we think is best. And like with any corporation, it seems it's run by men. And they think they have the answers as far as what this sad boy needs. And they've created a little list for this mistress. And she's reading what their suggestions are. And of course, this journal, so, what she's documenting is really like a medical journal. So everything that you're going to read in Stagnation is very scientific and devoid of emotion, very matter of fact, very factual. And so you don't really get, this is kind of how I was able to get over the trick of like, oh, fuck, I've got to write from a woman's perspective. I was like, okay, well, I'll just have her write the facts and the observations and not really get into how she really feels. Because she's a professional anyway. So she's not supposed to feel in this setting, I suppose. So that's going on. And that's basically it. But yeah, the corporation's kind of dictated a laundry list of what they want her to try. And she's kind of writing down like her observations based off of reading these stolen journals as far as what she thinks. Like whether that's a good technique to use or not. So that's Seasons. It's really weird, as with everything. So there you go. What do you guys think? Does it suck? Anyway, I would love someday, just putting the intention out there as I already have, of turning this into a series of short films. I would love to use a different director or work with a different, well, not a director because I'm really the director, I guess, but like I would love to work with a different filmmaker on the technical side for each part. Whoever resonates. I already have somebody that I really want to work with for the first part, but I sat down with him one day. I could just say his name, Chris. Good old Chris. The modern day Renaissance man. I sat down and talked with him about this story one day, and it was in a very different form at that time. Although the general gist is still the same, and we talked about what it would take, and I even I'd stayed up all night the night before, and I'd gone and I'd scouted this location where I wanted to film like the cavernous tunnel psychedelic circus freak show scenes. But yeah, when we got into it, like the complexity of the story, the fact of like hiring actors, because he doesn't work in animation, he works in live action. Just when we started getting into what the minimum budget would be without him even taking a cut, because he operates at a very high level, and I, of course, would want to respect that, and not just, and it just was not practical. So, that idea is shelved. I mean, we got these concept videos for now, but maybe someday I'll have a bunch of money or get a grant or get some sugar mama to, make this happen. Collaborating with an animator would be pretty dope too. So, any of you know animators or want to share this with animators who might want to collaborate, that would be sick. But let's just get the whole album out first, shall we? Then we'll talk about shit. So, chat seems to be dead. Are we still live? 10 viewers. So that's the story of Seasons. You have that to look forward to. I've just given you the synopsis, and this stream should be saving to my B4Man Music Twitch channel, so you can rewatch it at your leisure. Tell your friends about it that missed it. If you don't, please keep an eye on my. Wait, if you haven't already, or if you don't, I don't know. I lost my train of thought in that sentence, as I'm prone to do. If you don't have Instagram, I would suggest at least engaging with it over the last couple weeks. Make an account, or, well, I don't know. I mean, all my stuff winds up going to Facebook anyway, usually from Instagram. So you can see it on my personal Facebook. I don't know. Sometimes I remember to put stuff on my like Facebook artist page, but it's really just kind of there to be there. But Instagram is where it's at. I always post like little tidbits and like hints and, you know, just like Easter eggs in my story. But my primary posts are always really cool, and there's a lot of intention behind everything that I put up there. Lots of dudes, which has been a big part of, COVID times for me. Very therapeutic. Dudes, a lot of you might have gathered this by now, but dudes stands for doodles, which refers to basically just the visual art I make. It's kind of just, I consider myself like a folk artist. I have no formal training except for some really, really amazing, just classes I had in public school and middle school. Mr. Gabe, if you're out there, I love you. But yeah, I mean, it's really just duding all over the place, like just throwing some shit on a thing and then fucking with it until it looks kind of cool, I guess. That's duding. That's dudes. They're my dudes, and of course, lots and lots of potential puns there. Send dudes. We need more dudes. Can I trust dudes? Traveling dudes. I already said we need more dudes. What else is on the triptych for stagnation? We have send dudes. We need more dudes. Dudes developing dudes. Dudes don't lie, which is actually, or sorry, that's wrong. Oh no, it is. Actually, I already forgot, but I don't know. I'll correct myself later, maybe. But yeah, this B4Men logo up towards the top left there, that's actually covering where I wrote hashtag dudes don't lie on the forehead of the jack-o'-lantern. So there's that, and then the second dudes hashtag down there, which Seasons is covering up the dudes, but this says might change your life, and that's kind of like wrapping around underneath and over, because wrapping kind of underneath and over down towards the bottom right corner. It says might change your life. Dudes might change your life. Dudes don't lie. So we got send dudes. We need more dudes. Dudes developing dudes. Dudes don't lie, and dudes might change your life. Butts might change your life too, in case you didn't know. As well as asses. Anybody want to hop in a Zoom one-on-one? We'll wait for anybody to respond to that. You guys tired? You want to go to bed? You guys have work in the morning? I don't. I need a job. The dudes abide. Yes. Eric, I don't know if you saw the one anyway, when I was first posting about dudes, there were a lot of like big Lebowski dudes stickers. Anyway, I love my dudes, and it really has been like, it's great to have an outlet, an artistic medium I can play with that I don't have as much pressure, because it's really like nobody's there to tell me what I'm doing is doing wrong. I don't have any like schooling to tell me I'm doing it wrong, so I just kind of do it and ask my friends who are nice, hey, what do you think? I want to acknowledge a couple of artists, holy shit, that are just, I'm just so stoked on right now. Amber Rain Bliss, Rain and Sunshine, her color schemes, her stuff. I mean, I've said so many positive things about her in my posts. I got some art on my wall of hers over here. Can you see that? Maybe zoom in. I can't really like zoom in with this camera, but it's that thing. Can I like do this? Here, what if I pinch it? I don't know how to do this. Yeah, like how do I zoom in? Right here, right here. That's by her. Anyway, but yeah, Amber Rain Bliss, Rain and Sunshine, rainandsunshine.com, I believe, but you can follow Rain and Sunshine on Instagram. She's amazing. Like such a kind-hearted person, and always just willing to be so supportive and like and just a cheerleader for anybody. She's super sweet, and just really really big influence on kind of just like a lot of the spectral stuff that I've been playing with. I mean, she's always got some really really cool like kind of California sunset spectrum stuff going on, and that was really what I was trying to do with the sunset that's happening in this Wyo Lee, aka Karin, long lost acquaintance that I knew back in college through the girlfriend of a friend. But I mean, we were kind of completely disconnected for a long time, and then through that friend, she reconnected with us somehow. I actually don't really know how, because it was through him. Before the Jungle Space in Place Party Part 2, I was just like totally blown away with everything she's up to. I mean, I hope you're not squeamish about nudity, because that's kind of a big thing of what she does. But if you follow her Instagram, it is very, very careful at following their guidelines and pointing out how stupid they are. But aside from that, her entire Instagram, I've been fascinated by this since I first came across it. Or first, was like, Brian was like, "Hey, check this out. We should have her on Jungle Space in Place." I was like, "Holy shit, Karin! She shaved her head." Anyway, she's super sick, but her whole Instagram is like this infinite collage where like it's not just like you see those 9 square or 3 square things. Like I've got one on my Instagram up there for stagnation, but what blows my mind about what she does is that this collage just keeps continuing and it's infinite. So like anytime she adds a new photo, it's not like she's building up to something. It's like she added something that makes everything else still perfect. And it's like, holy fuck, Karin, she's so great. So anyway, she's dope. Very, very inspired by that to basically create my own collage. This is a collage that is building up to something, but as of now, you have the first 2 pieces of it. I guess if you're going up, it's like A and B. So A, B, C are I'll put up 2 more posts tonight. Basically, my to-do list after this is I'm going to put up my One Eye Open promo post to round out that row that I didn't have time for. And then I'm going to start with the second row with the artwork for Seasons. And this whole thing is going to build up to an epic collage that is not just the artwork for this part, but promo posts for the first part, which are, you've already 2 up there. And then it'll ultimately kind of like lead up into the artwork for the overall cover art for Stagnation. So the way I'm rolling these out, I really like the fact that it's kind of like 1 chapter at a time, 1 week at a time. So like I did with SmokeClouds over the winter, I released Smiles Like Stripes on the winter solstice. One Eye Open a week later, and oh shit, I said it wrong. Smiles Like Stripes on the winter solstice. Then Grand Chasm on December 28th. And then to start the new year, a new year to focus on the content, we had a One Eye Open on January. I think I was a day late with it, the 5th, because the story was really hard to finish. What was I talking about? Yeah, so yeah, we were releasing kind of like one week at a time. I mean, I just love the anticipation of like kind of like a mini series. Like, oh yeah, this year we get the first act, and then next week we get the middle, the meat, the juice of it, and then we get the exciting conclusion. So that's how Stagnation is going to be told over the next 2 weeks, and then I don't know, maybe sometime in October or November is going to be pretty busy, but early December latest. Of course, never trust me when I tell you when things are going to be out, because I'm probably lying to you. But anyway, well, I mean, we'll see. But I'm gonna release this as like a full on EP, and that's when I kind of just to save money, so I don't have to spend money on a single every single time I release a track. Like these 3 tracks will be released as a single, which you can still release 3 tracks on CD Baby and still have it qualify as a single. So that'll be up on like Spotify and iTunes sucks and like all the all the other places, and have like Library of Congress copyright shit, and you like a barcode and all that. So it'll be something that I can protect myself if somebody, I don't know, they're like, we want to use this song in a video without permission because it's like really, it really appeals to the lowest common denominator. I don't know. No. Anyway, but yeah, so that's how it's gonna go. As you saw with the SmokeClouds artwork, or if you take another close look at it, it is the Om Shanti Gaia, which is not called the Om Shanti Gaia anymore. It has been renamed to the Telos Om Shanti, to be a little bit more accurately Roman with what we call Earth, and also because it's kind of cute, and then it's like, tell us Om Shanti, tell us a story. But yeah, the Telos Om Shanti. So when Stagnation comes out, you're gonna see this triptych that will be unfolded for Stagnation. I'm not going to say too much about the other panels if you haven't seen any kind of drafts of them yet. But Stagnation, the significance of the stag. There's also some sharkness going on, some big shark energy, which we'll talk about next week. Yeah, that pretty much does it. Stagnation is on its way. We're going to get Jungle Man on the solstice. Not the solstice. See, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. We're going to get Jungle Man on the equinox, 22nd, next Tuesday. And then the 29th, we're going to get Lost Flight, which is the conclusion of this part. So strap in, enjoy yourselves. If you're staying up late, maybe in, I don't know, an hour or two or less, I will have this track, Seasons, up on Bandcamp for purchase or download. And I'm very excited about seeing y'all next week. This was really fun. I don't know if I necessarily show it. Like, I've definitely been in front of crowds of people, been in front of classrooms of kids of all different ages. And, generally like do well presenting stuff and have kind of like a self-assuredness about me, even if I might be stuttering or making verbal mistakes a lot. And then, but I don't know. I mean, this stuff is really, it really does kind of make me insecure to be so vulnerable and personal about my art. So thank you for joining in. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for tolerating my bullshit. I love the people who love my bullshit. And hopefully if you feel inspired to create something, share that something with me and let's talk about it. And I mean, this music is deeply personal to me, but it's very much meant for the universe and, in particular, sentient beings, to just really devour and digest and drive whatever they want from it. So thank you for joining me. This was a huge blast, an explosive blast of pleasure. And I will be looking forward very much to seeing you all next week, which I think I've maybe said one too many times. So I'm going to stop this stream, say goodbye, wave my hand, and I'll talk to you guys later.